Namaskar, my name is Dr. Saumitra Dixit and I am recording this video lecture for Arunachal University of Studies. In today's lecture, we will be discussing about the ideas related to human resource management. To be specific and to be particular, we will be discussing about the ideological differences. This is one of the advanced and the graver topics of human resource management that helps us to understand the problems that arises in the field of industrial relations, occupational psychology, etc. In our lecture, we will also try to incorporate the use of the whiteboard just to make ourselves much more expressive. So now formally we can begin with our lecture. In every organization, employer and employees are considered to be the two pillars. These are the two strong pillars on which the organization basically resides, it rests. Employer are the one who signifies the management, the system, the administration, and employees are the one who implies the service, the actual working. So employer, and it will not be wrong to say that these are the two pillars of every organization. But our today's topic is not about them. It is basically about the gap that we can see over here. The gap that we can see between the employer and the employees. Okay, this is the gap that we can see between them, and of course this gap is not only physical in nature, it is much more ideological. Why the study of this gap becomes so important? Because this gap results into various types of conflicts. The rise of the trade union, the rise of the labor revolt, strikes, lockdowns. These can be some of the many examples of the problems or the conflicts that are arising due to this ideological gap that prevails between the employer and the employees. Today in our lecture, we will try to understand that what is the philosophical reason that this gap is there between the employer and the employees. Because as we know that employers are depending upon employees because they are providing with the service towards the organization, and employees are depending upon the employer because they are providing them with the salary and the wages. So both the individual parties, both the individual units are depending on each other, and the growth and evolution of both the units is only possible when they are in a due process, in a good harmony with each other. But because of this ideological gap, because of this difference between the two, many times it has been seen that the employers are not satisfied with the employees and vice versa. So today in our lecture, we will try to explore about this problem, and as I have said, we will try to find out the philosophical reason that why this situation prevails. To do that, we will be using the concepts given by a very great philosopher, Karl Marx. We will be using his theory to understand that what exactly the problem is, because once we have diagnosed the problem properly, then only we can look for the solutions. So I'll be like writing this out so that we can quickly use the whiteboard again for the Karl Marx's theory. Now Karl Marx was a German philosopher who is very relevant today as well, who has given us different theories that we use in the field of sociology, in philosophy, in political science, and also in the field of human resource management. So we will be borrowing one of his concept, one of his ideas to understand the whole picture of ideological differences. So the theory that we will be using will be, the name of the theory is the theory of conflict. The name of the theory is theory of conflict, and as I have mentioned, the philosopher is Karl Marx. So Karl Marx was born in 1818, and he left this planet in 1883. Okay. So the name of the theory is theory of conflict, and the philosopher is Karl Marx. Now our philosopher is saying that he basically tries to begin his talk, he tries to begin his theory by saying that what are the basic needs of human being. So first of all, he is trying to decode the basic needs, and which are the food, clothing, and shelter. These are considered to be the basic needs. These are the basic needs of humans as per Karl Marx. I will try to stretch your attention towards the time in which Marx was present and he was writing. Today we can debate that the basic needs are beyond food, clothing and shelter. Yes, we have education, we have infrastructure, electricity, internet, everything, but we need to consider the time in which Marx was active and he was writing. So he's saying that food, clothing and shelter are the basic needs. Now the satisfaction of the basic needs has to be done. So Marx is calling the basic needs as the material needs. Now Karl Marx is saying that food, clothing and shelter are the basic needs of every human being. These are the needs which are material. These, because food, clothes and shelter, these are made up of matter. Okay, so if someone is hungry, that individual does not need let's say a lecture on an apple. He needs an actual apple. That means that individual needs a matter. So Marx is saying that our basic needs are actually the material needs. Okay, and material needs can only be fulfilled through the material production. Material production is necessary. Okay. For the satisfaction of the basic needs, which are also the material needs, we need to go for the material production. We need to produce things first. In the next segment, Marx is saying that material production or any kind of a production is possible with the combination of two important things. The first one is humans have a special ability. Humans have ability to produce. Okay. humans have a special ability to produce. This is the first condition which is necessary for the material production or any kind of a production if we have to generate. The first thing is that we humans are having the special ability that we can produce stuff, we can create things. Okay. The second is the factors of production. Second one is the factors of production. So if we need to do any kind of a material production, we need to rely upon the ability of humans to produce something, simultaneously the factors of production. Now what are the factors of production? Let me just list them quickly over here. Land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, and technology. These are the various, or let's say 5 factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, and technology. Now this is the concept. The concept of factors of production is coming from the field of economics. So we are again borrowing one principle. So the field of human resource management is basically an accumulation of the philosophies, concepts, and ideas from different streams. So over here we are borrowing a very interesting concept from the field of economics. Okay, so the factors of production, when they are combined with the special ability of producing something which is unique in humans, then only we can generate a production. Let me shed some light on this part of special ability to produce. This simply means that only some species are there that can produce the food for themselves other than human beings. We can have a good example of the honeybee. Okay, honeybee is producing the honey for itself. So this phenomena to produce something is very rare, and no other species can come even closer to what humans are capable of. Okay, so that is why I am just calling it a unique ability. The humans are having a unique ability to produce. So when the unique ability is combined with the factors of production, then only the material production is generated, and once the material production is generated, then only the basic needs can be met. Now Marx has given this whole concept or this idea in 2 different stages. So this was the stage 1. Now quickly we will be looking into the stage 2 as well. Now further Karl Marx is saying that in our society there are 2 different types of people. First one is the people who control the factors of production. So these factors of production are being controlled by the sum. These are called as the haves. The people who are controlling the factors of production. The other category is the have not. People who don't have any control over the factors of production. Only a little percentage of the total population of this earth is in the haves category, that they are controlling the factors of production. Rest of the population is in the second category, which is have not. These have and have not can also be called as the dominant class and dominated class. Dominant and dominated, these are the 2 terms that our philosopher is using, and he is saying that dominant class is dominating the have-nots. So the dominant class and the dominated class. This is just the extension of the two over here. Now, who are the people who are the part of the dominant class? In the context of the organizational study, in the context of the human resource management, we can call them as the employer. Okay, and in dominated class we have the employees. Employer and employees. Now the history of human resource management tells us, the philosophy of human resource management tells us, the feudal system itself has converted into the capitalist model. The kind of a capitalism that we see today is nothing else, or it is not a new thing, it is just an evolution of the feudal system. So employers or the capitalist can be compared with the feudal lords or the lord barons of the feudal society, and the employees are being considered as the slaves or the normal laborers and workers of the feudal society, which were having very few rights. Okay. Excuse me. Later we can say that the objectives of both the classes are very different. Excuse me, please. The objectives of both the classes, employer and employees, are very different from each other. On one hand, employer are only thinking about the profit motive because that is the main objective of the capitalist ideology. So over here we have the profit motive. And for employees, it is the satisfaction of the basic needs. For employees, it is the satisfaction of basic needs. Now we can rightly see that the objectives of these two classes are very different from each other. Okay. Now coming back to our main topic, which was the ideological differences between the two. Now after giving this theory, Karl Marx is coming to a proper conclusion, and he's saying that there will be an ideological difference between the employer and the employees, because employer belongs to the dominant class, employees belong to the dominated class. Dominant class means people who are controlling the factors of production. Dominated class is the people who don't have any control over the factors of production. So they are less in power. They are living in the very edge of our societies. So because of this ideological gap between the two, the conflict will arise. And as it is mentioned over here, the objectives of both the classes is very different, and it will finally result into a conflict. Because of the differences, that we can see over here. So let's try to club everything together. Our philosopher is saying that the basic needs of every human being is very important, and he is saying that there are only three things: food, clothing and shelter. These basic needs are also the material needs because they are made up of matter, and in order to fulfill the material needs, we need to generate a material production. To have a proper material production, we need two things. First one is the ability of the humans to produce something. Second is the factors of production. When the factors of production and the human ability are clubbed together, they come together, then only we can produce something new. So this is the first conceptual building that our uh, philosopher is giving to us. In the latter half of the theory, he is saying that the whole society is divided into two different groups, haves and have not, and because they both are having different set of ideologies altogether, that is why at the end conflict is must, and that is the reason why we study it under human resource management. First of all, it is one of the way to approach the ideological differences. Because of the limited time, I have just touched only few matters over here, but there are other theories as well which are able enough to highlight the issue of the ideological differences. Okay. But Karl Marx's theory is very much workable, as I have told earlier, also in the field of industrial relations, occupational psychology, and in other areas of HR as well. We use the work of Karl Marx. So this is how we can understand this particular concept. Because of the limited time, I'm not able to shed more light about their application, how we can apply them in the field of HR, how we can find the result, and based on the results, how we can cure this particular problem. So we can wind up our topic here because of the time boundation, and I hope I have made justice to this particular topic. Thank you so much. Namaskar, and thank you so much for patience hearing. Thank you so much.